Hello, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. How are you? Welcome today to this episode. So, this episode today will be talking about what do we talk about today? Today, I wanted to do something different. Maybe we talk about somebody because the previous episodes we've been talking about things that have been happening, like the matrix, what the system is. So today I just want to break from the norm. At least we talk about something else. Maybe we can talk about a person. I don't know, but I had a person in mind. So who I wanted to talk about today, and the person is Bob Marley. Bob Marley. Yeah, I wanted to talk today about Bob Marley and pay some respect to this legend because this legend is a person who I myself I respect a lot. Bob Marley, I respect him because of the things he did and many things he helped human beings. Even today, people know who is Bob Marley. But when I was growing up, I didn't understand who was Bob Marley very well. I used to see people wearing t-shirts with a person who has rastas, and I wonder why are people wearing this a person who has rastas. Then what also made me to wonder is the image that people portrayed Bob Marley when I was a kid. They portrayed him as a bang addict, and that time there was a stigma around people who was smoking bang. So Bob Marley to me, when I was young, growing up, he wasn't that prominent figure. I didn't understand him well. Who is he and how impact he has made into people's life. But there's no person whose image, a singer or an artist, who I saw on people like Bob Marley. Bob Marley, when I was young, even today, I usually see him on t-shirts of people, let's say walls. I see Bob Marley on walls. I see him on even blankets, lassos. I always see Bob Marley on them. So I wonder why Bob Marley has always been this famous, but I wasn't curious to know why he was like this. But through time when I grew up, I started listening to sometimes reggae music. I'm a fan of reggae music. I'm a fan of house music. I'm a fan of house music also, as I've said, reggae music, and also some hip hop music. Also, I do listen. Those hip hop for long time ago, Tupac. Those hip hops are what I listen. I like legend music, which have messages. I like these songs for today. These songs don't have any message that people can emulate or people can be taught from the message. It's just vanity. It's something they say, then they pass. So Bob Marley, I got interested in him when I started listening to music, but reggae music. But when I was listening to reggae music, he wasn't the person who I looked onto and 24/7 listening to his music. I used to listen to various artists in when I was listening to reggae music. So eventually, time and time, listening to reggae music, I didn't know Bob Marley. Knew he had a team where they were performing called the Wailers. Then another guy had mentioned to me he one of his partner who was called Peter Tosh was usually called the Bush Doctor. So the Bush Doctor, I wondered why this guy was called the Bush Doctor. I heard this guy Peter Tosh he had prophecy, he was performing prophecy. So that was back then before I also knew well about these whalers. Then there's another time that their last person called Bunny Wailer. I think he died last year, but he was one of the group members, one of the founder members of reggae. There were three: Bunny Wailer, Peter Tosh, and famously known Bob Marley. Those were three people who formed the Wailers. They used to sing Wailers back then in 1960s before it started. So let me tell you, after doing my research, after my research isn't one day research. This is a lifetime research of how I knew Bob Marley and how Bob Marley figure is to me. And maybe I don't know how you view Bob Marley, but this is how Bob Marley is viewed to me and why I respect Bob Marley. So Bob Marley was born in Jamaica. Those who may not know Bob Marley was born in Jamaica. Jamaica is not a rich country. Jamaica is not a rich country. It was a country where the slave were taken after gaining their own independence. They were taken to Jamaica out from America. After doing their work, they were taken to Jamaica. So that locality, all the black people who were from slave, which came from Africa after working in America, they they took them to Jamaica. So they can't return them to Africa because it's a long way there, and maybe they will infect people with their ideas and ideologies of how black people are living in America and how white people are living. So they decided maybe let's take them to Jamaica where we can keep them secluded, where it will be easy to control the population. They didn't want to return them back to Africa. So Bob Marley was born here in Jamaica. Jamaica, it used to be, it's just a small country if you compare to other countries. Jamaica is not, it's a small country. It's an island where very few agricultural crops can be grown, but it is so beautiful. Jamaica is beautiful. They have islands, they have palm trees. You can take palm trees. And one of Jamaica is a country that it's known for its music. Its music inspires the world, and the person who started all of this is Bob Marley. Bob Marley is the one who made Jamaica at least to be known to the world through his music. And I know a song that everybody knows about Bob Marley is the song One Love. One Love is a song that everyone knows about it. One love, let's get together and feel alright. I know you know that song. It's for Bob Marley, his most famous song, but that isn't the most favorite song. I like other songs for Bob Marley, like I like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a nice song for Bob Marley. We'll see who is the real revolutionary. I don't know. It's just somehow like that. Zimbabwe, I like Zimbabwe. I like Africa Unite for Bob Marley. I like Redemption Song. Redemption Song. That song is superb. It is nice. That song for Bob Marley, it takes you somewhere where you just feel low. You just feel nice. It's just like a repenting song, redemption song. It was the last song that Bob Marley sang. He was saying, "How long shall they kill our prophets as we stand aside and look? Oh, I have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Oh, I have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. They say we got to fulfill the book." That's the song for Bob Marley. Basically, his message in that song, the language of Jamaica, people don't understand it, but it has a message. He says he has no fear for atomic energy, because none of them can stop the time. Even if bombs are thrown here in the world right now and everybody dies, no one will be able to stop the time. Time will always move. Time will always move. The fear that Bob Marley has is us remaining asleep and not waking up and realizing the reality of. So he says, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, because none of them can stop the time. Nothing else can stop the time. Only mental slavery. You can be living, you have time, but you're not fully alive. You're in your mental state slavery. So Bob Marley was saying we should emancipate ourselves, because that is just a waste of time, because you're living and you're not living life fully. It's even better we die with atomic energy than living where you're not full aware of who you are and mental slavery, because that is just a waste of time. So Bob Marley was released that song, his last song, which he released talking about mental slavery and things like that. So Bob Marley was born in Jamaica. Jamaica was not a rich country. He was born as his father was a white person, then the mother was just a worker. His mother was just a worker. So and the father got to impregnate the mother. The mother gave birth to Bob Marley on February, I think it was February 5th. Bob Marley was born in 19 something. He was born. He wasn't in a well family because the mother got to raise him up, but the father was a white man, but the mother was a black man. So that's why Bob Marley a little bit resembles like white with he, but his main complexion is a little bit dark, but he resembles Caucasian, uh, Caucasian color a little bit. So Bob Marley grew up. He had friends. He grew up in a town called, I don't know the town very well. I don't know how it is called, but he grew up in a town. So when he was growing up, he used to sing. He was struggling with his finances, so he decided to start doing music. And there were three boys which I mentioned earlier. It was Bunny Wailer, Bob Marley, and Peter Tosh. They grouped up together and started singing so they can afford their bills. And in that three groups, there was a leading artist. There was an artist called Rita Marley, who is now the wife to Bob Marley. Rita Marley was among those boys. So Rita Marley was asked, they all were in love with Rita Marley, the three. But Rita Marley had to choose between the three. Which one will she go out with? He said she can't choose Peter Tosh because Peter Tosh was a little bit rough. She can't choose, so she decided to choose Bob Marley because Bob Marley was a little bit romantic and he knew, and she brought out the good side in her. So Bob Marley, so Rita Marley brought out the good side in her. So she chose Rita Marley. So out of these three boys, Bob Marley got engaged to Rita Marley as they were small, as they were young. I think they were 19 years old. Even that picture is on the internet. It surfaces a lot on the internet. If you just look at the internet, you'll see Bob Marley first marriage with Rita Marley. Although he had many marriages with many children ahead. So Bob Marley was a singer. They used to sing for a group in Jamaica. So they released songs. So there's another day, a famous person called Haile Selassie came to Jamaica. When he came to Jamaica, Rita Marley and Bob Marley went to see Haile Selassie because Haile Selassie was a person, a renowned figure who people respected and looked up to, because they looked up to him because they believed he was a forthcoming Messiah who will bring salvation to them. And that time, Jamaicans had passed through a lot, and they were so in need of some hope and desperate for some hope because they seemed to be completely put aside and completely suffering. So there was a person called Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey prophesied that look at Africa, where a black king shall be crowned. A black king shall be crowned who will bring salvation to the black people in Jamaica and also in Africa, who will unite Africa and Jamaica. So that thing for Marcus Garvey was also had also been uplifted by Haile Selassie being crowned as the Emperor of Ethiopia. So the Jamaicans saw as a salvation for them that as salvation is coming, so that they will be liberated and also they will go back to their motherland, because in Jamaica they were suffering. A lot of things were happening. So that verse from Marcus Garvey removed that verse from a book in Isaiah. Isaiah states that a king shall come from the east. It doesn't say if it's Africa, but it says from the east, who will bring salvation and justice. It's in Isaiah. Isaiah says that. So these people for Jamaican were very spiritual. And even today, what shocks me that these people were Bibles were limited in that time. Not like nowadays. We have Bibles everywhere. We have Bibles on the phone. We have Bibles almost everywhere. But them, they had Bibles, physical Bibles, and it was very limited. But them, they knew the Bible very well. If you look at the songs of Bob Marley, most of them are quoted verses of the Bible. Even some of them which I don't know. But I wonder, how does this guy knows these verses of the Bible? Like there's another one that he sang. You can just search about it. It's called um, Rastaman Live Up. Yeah, Rastaman Live Up. It's for Bob Marley. He says that Solomon defeated the Philistines with a jawbone. He says David David killed Goliath. These things that are in the Bible. And also there's another song for Bob Marley which I like also because it has meaning. He says, it's called Time Will Tell. He says, time will tell if God will give a bald man power to rule over the world. Because when God gives that, a bald man will crucify the people who have dreads. And one symbolic thing for dreads that people believe in, and why these Rastafarians believe in, like Bob Marley, because they quote it from the Bible, which is in Leviticus, and I think it's Leviticus, where they say a person who is dedicated to the temple of God, or a person who is dedicated to God, should not shave his head on his sides anywhere, or his beard. Also should not shave these sides. I see nowadays people shaving these sides. The Bible says there's a particular group of people who should not do that, should not shave on their sides, should always should have hair. Like there's a person who in the Bible was called Samson. Gained his strength from his hair. So that's why you see Rastafarians and Bob Marley and these Rastafarian figures keeping hair. That is the inspiration from the Bible. That is where they got their meaning of how to keep long hair, because it gives them strength. And also during that time, their struggle was also motivated to keep the long hair, to show they are not collaborating with the system. They have made them sacred out of the system, from the way people are doing, because people in that time, they were neat hair, doing neat things, but them, they decided to show a rebel side to oppose what is being done. So Bob Marley got married to Rita Marley. Rita Marley now changed her name to Rita Marley. The financial issues here and there, so Bob Marley had to give songs. So when Haile Selassie was coming to Jamaica to see them, all Jamaicans came and viewed to see Haile Selassie, because they saw Haile Selassie as a God figure. They saw Haile Selassie as somebody who is a God figure. So when Haile Selassie came to Jamaica, he came down through an aeroplane. So many people crowded to go and see Haile Selassie coming out of the aeroplane. So Haile Selassie, when he was waving his hand, Haile Selassie, Bob Marley and Rita Marley were on the crowd. So Rita Marley recorded to Bob Marley that he saw on the hands of Haile Selassie holes in the hands of Haile Selassie, which symbolized the crucifixion of Jesus. So they saw Haile Selassie as Jesus, and to them that was the inspiration, that they saw the Black King Messiah, the long-awaited Messiah, who was Jesus in that time. So when they went back, Rita Marley told this to Bob Marley, and that's how they became more strong and started singing these songs of reggae. they became strong, and also now they started fully Rastafarianism, believing that one day they'll be taken to the land of Jamaica, land of Africa, and live there as one by with Haile Selassie. So time passed and time went. Things were happening. They released songs in many songs about their freedom, redemption. These songs they were inspired to motivate people. So Bob Marley was he became very known and famous to to Jamaica and to also the world because the type of music he was removing, it was like no other music. It had a pinch of funk, rock, and a pinch of itself Jamaican language. So it became a new type of song in Jamaica, which is now known as reggae. Now people started listening to that song, reggae song. Everyone listening to reggae songs on the radios. That now made people 24/7. These were the people which people were listening. Reggae, reggae, reggae. It was there 24/7. So Bob Marley's sound was indoctrinated into people's mind in Jamaica and also the world. So Bob Marley was a figure which was much stronger than even the president of Jamaica because people loved his songs and with his band, the Wailers. So the Wailers also later on they had a problem with the music producer. The music producer was not giving them the right enough of money and they couldn't keep up with the standards of living. So they decided to change and go to another music producer called Ska. So Ska was the one who at least helped them and gave them a new beginning and give them a new inspiration to their music, and also he paired well to their songs and also to their things. Sky is a famous DJ. You can look him on the internet. He's a famous DJ who produced for Bob Marley and the Wailers. So this group started singing they started know the world started knowing Bob Marley, who is Bob Marley. So there was another time there was an election in Jamaica. That this is where the problem started for Bob Marley. There was an election in Jamaica. So this election there were two people, Michael Manley and somebody Stanley. So I think Michael Manley was the one who was being headed. He was being financed by the CIA, CIA and also America because he had a system which was not communism. Because the other one was communism, and they believed the communism was directed from Russia. And that time in 1960s, 70s, there was a Cold War between Russia and America. So they wanted to hold their ground and know which people do they have. So USA wanted mostly to have Jamaica and also more countries. They were fighting for countries in the world so they can gain their power. So it was a fight between USA and Russia. With this fight also brought trouble to so Michael Manley and the other guy who wanted to become presidents of USA, of Jamaica, sorry. So they wanted to become president of Jamaica. One was financed by USA, and the other one was just locally who was referred to as a communist. So USA favored a lot and also aided this Michael Manley to to be a part of this to help him win the election. So this is where Bob Marley got caught up in the trap of this USA also being able to investigate this man called Bob Marley. So Bob Marley at that time his songs were famous and he used to be known so much. People were viewing Bob Marley as a person who had a lot of weight in any agenda in anything. And that time Jamaica was having a lot of violence. People were dying because a lot of gangs that were taking place. So there's a time where Bob Marley was asked by the two. It was during an election campaign. Bob Marley was asked by the two. One of them approached and told Bob Marley, "Come and perform at my rally so that people can vote for me." Then the other one also asked Bob Marley, "Come and perform at my rally so people can vote for me." So Bob Marley refused all the offers on both of them. So one day, there's another day that Bob Marley was just doing a concert of a peace concert of telling both of them to come together. But what happened is that one of them came to the stage and wanted to represent him as he is the one who is Bob Marley has chose. So that brought a lot of strife and that brought a lot of strife and conflict in Jamaica, because Bob Marley had the power to give the presidency to anyone. Just saying, "I'm performing for this guy," Bob Marley people will vote for that guy, because Bob Marley was viewed as a person of truth and a person of revolution so Bob Marley being a person of the truth, if he chooses somebody, that person is also the truth, and he is the best thing that Jamaica can be given to him. So before those elections, what happened? Bob Marley had declined both of them. So when he was at home with Rita Marley and other people at his house, gunmen came to him and shot him. They shot Bob Marley and also shot Rita Marley in the head, but she survived, and also Bob Marley survived. So it was an assassination attempt for Bob Marley to be killed, but Bob Marley survived. So after days had passed and people heard the news that Bob Marley was trying to be assassinated, Bob Marley became fearful, because how can this country of mine, which I love, which people I trust for, which people I fight for, how can they want to kill me? But this disturbed a lot Bob Marley, but he didn't grow faint, or he didn't get discouraged. What he did, he went and performed a very powerful, very powerful concert, which amazed a lot of people in Jamaica. He performed while had gunshot wounds. He performed, he danced, and yet he had gunshot wounds he had received. So even in his event, he showed where he was shot, but this guy was not normal. He was shaken. He had a little bit. He was trembling by that shock that he had received. So Bob Marley, he wasn't himself really. He wasn't he's truly himself. So after performing that, Bob Marley sat down and decided to, no, enough is enough. He's not staying again in Jamaica. And it is believed that the people who ordered this assassination attempt, it was the person who was being headed by the CIA. I don't know if it is Michael Manley or Stanley, the person who was being headed by the CIA. So Bob Marley decided to go to UK, London, where he had a group where now he became famous. Also there, he started releasing his songs over there. He was releasing his songs, also putting out records. He went to Africa, sang Zimbabwe for Africa, Zimbabwe, for So African Can Unite. He was singing in London because he was fearing about Jamaica, because Jamaica was really violent. And if a good person like Bob Marley, who has no problem with anybody, be targeted, this disturbed a lot of Bob Marley. Even if I was in that shoe or you were in that shoe, you would have just done the same. So Bob Marley went to UK. He just lived there and also released. He found better producers who were giving him better money. So then he met a lot of women there. He met women in UK. So these women also, he went with his first wife, Rita Marley. Rita Marley was telling Bob Marley, be caution of these women, be caution of these women. But Bob Marley said he doesn't have anything. Even one day, Bob Marley released a song about a woman. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. If you think I'm dumb, a song just called Bob Marley. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. Just go check it out. He released the song because of one of his girlfriends. So when he released that song, there was another day in a concert. In a concert, he wanted Rita Marley to sing, to also, Rita Marley was one of their backstage singers. He's the one, those ladies, three ladies who sing and also help Bob Marley in singing. So he wanted also Bob Marley to sing this song with him. So Rita Marley refused, but Rita Marley eventually agreed to sing with Bob Marley that song. So these were the one of the things that also made Rita Marley get hurt, and also Rita Marley uh, was going to the bedroom of Bob Marley, finds them with girls, so he used to remove these girls because Bob Marley, he couldn't resist girls. Girls always wanted him because of his complexion and how he looked. Girls always wanted him. So this also made Rita Marley angry. And if you look how many kids Bob Marley has, he has a lot of kids with different mothers, and also Rita Marley has also Rita Marley also gave birth to Bob Marley's kids. So Bob Marley had a lot of affairs with women, but he was just a revolutionary and used to sing. So he sung One Love and other songs. He also, in that time is when Africa was a lot of fighting for independence and revolution so that it can happen, so African can unite. So Bob Marley in this song, he used to quote Bible verses. He used to quote. This man he was knowledgeable about the Bible, and this man, one thing that he kept close was his weed and his Bible. These are the things that he loved a lot. Wings, weed and also the Bible. He loved it a lot. So he used to sing songs, and that time he broke up with his band called the Wailers and decided to become a solo artist. That's why you hear a lot of songs of Bob Marley which are solo, which are apart from his artists. So Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer also went their own ways and started their own band and removed their own songs also. So Bob Marley, in days and after days, one day he went to the doctor and complained that his foot was paining. So the doctor just looked at a nail on his foot, the nail on a foot. I think this nail, they looked at the nail and diagnosed Bob Marley with melanoma cancer. This is a cancer which is particular affects white people, and that's what the doctor said. It's a cancer which affects the white people. They say that. So, but there are other stories which people claim that Bob Marley was given that cancer by the CIA, because the CIA viewed Bob Marley as a threat. They viewed Bob Marley as the most dangerous man in the world, because Bob Marley, there was no man who had power like Bob Marley. Bob Marley had the power to unite the world. He used to sing songs and he used to be against the system. All of his songs were just against the system. All of his songs were saying the truth. So this is one thing that the CIA and America didn't want. Even Bob Marley released the song of the CIA. I don't know if you know that song very well. Of the CIA. I don't know that song. Just go do some research. It's a CIA song he released for the CIA. He's saying he doesn't want anything to do with the CIA. So Bob Marley released that song. That's what happened against the CIA and those people. So the CIA targeting him a lot. That's why people say that his cancer was resulted by, he was given that cancer by the CIA, which injected him that cancer, because the CIA, as I told you earlier, the CIA wanted Jamaican president to be their president, so they can build their roots. You know what these American countries do? As long as they get one president to sit over there, they'll just build their roots and spread their agenda. They build schools, they build everything. So at the end of the day, so when the other president comes, he finds a system that has already been planned. So it is very hard to get around this system, which there's our Fidel Castro who refused help from the Americans, and also you had CIA wanted to assassinate him. So CIA was a group which was, it did all good things, but also it was targeted to diminish people who are doing good to the world and who were a threat to the rule of America and to the America to become the superpower. And also they didn't want uh, the Russians, Soviet Union to be ahead of them. So it was a struggle for world power between Russia, Soviet Union, and the USA. So they used all types of methods to just to try and gain the superpower, be it good methods or bad methods. They just used any type of method to have superpowers. Even they influenced a lot of countries in Africa. That's why Bob Marley sang Zimbabwe. For that's a song, nice songs for Zimbabwe. He says, "We'll soon find out who is the real revolutionary." This song is for Bob Marley. Is the one who sang it for Zimbabwe, telling them to unite. So when Bob Marley was diagnosed with this cancer, it was melanoma cancer. Bob Marley was told, "We need to cut your finger toe." Bob Marley said, "No, I can't cut my finger toe because I am a Rasta man. A Rasta man dies fully. He can't lack a flesh in his body when he's buried." So Bob Marley left it out, ignored that cancer. So days after days, he was a footballer, and Bob Marley was a nice footballer. He used to play football. So when he was playing football one day, is when his he realized his toe is hurting. So that's when he went to the doctor and got checked, and he was diagnosed with the cancer for the leg. So years after years, the cancer spread. He was looking for doctors. He had a doctor in Germany who was also linked to USA, and these Nazis, they gave him medicines which are not known. This doctor in Germany is linked to the Nazi people. With the Nazi, Nazi with Adolf Hitler, how he was. So eventually, one day in 1981 or 80, Bob Marley was performing his last concert. It was 2 days before that he collapsed when performing his last concert. That is when he went to the doctor and he was diagnosed, and they realized that the cancer has spread all over his body. It has spread to his lungs, to his organs, to his brain. So that is when Bob Marley received a full-blown hit that the cancer is no more can be cured. So Bob Marley, in his last concert in 1981, I think it was in London. Nice concert, a good concert. This guy, you couldn't know even if he was sick. He was very strong. Bob Marley was very strong singing in that concert. Bob Marley was on the top. You couldn't know that Bob Marley he didn't show any sign that he was sick. He was strong, sang every song like there's no, sang tomorrow like he has a million days on this earth. You couldn't know that Bob Marley is sick. So Bob Marley sang this song also. That is when he sang his redemption song. Just look at his last concert, redemption song. I think it was 1980, his last concert. He sang redemption song, the one that I sang for you. How long shall they kill our prophets? So he was saying people are killing God's people, because all of this time Bob Marley was talking about the truth and also revolutionizing the truth. And if you are a good system and sees Bob Marley is doing something good, what do? You reward Bob Marley. But what did the system do? The system didn't even reward Bob Marley. he died, they left him die because, but if they were, it was a good system, they could have been rewarding guys like Bob Marley because they speak for the truth and speak for people. He said his life, he's living for people. His life is not for himself. And there's another interview I saw. Bob Marley was saying that he was saying that the interview was asking Bob Marley, how much money do you have? Bob Marley said, what is a lot of money? How much is a lot of money to you? Bob Marley says, but you are, the interview says, but you are a famous person, you have riches and possession. Bob Marley said, no, my riches and possession is my life, my health, my life, which I get to impact a lot of people. His life is just his rich and possession. You may be having a lot of money, but how can you impact the lives of people? That is the real and true riches and possession that Bob Marley saw. To him, he was rich because of his life, but all other things, these things Bob Marley didn't view as his riches and possession. So he sang a lot of songs of revolutionary, one love, brought one love. That time there was no singer who was strong and able to sing like him, because that time if you sang things like that, it was slavery time. No person was being able to talk those things that he was talking about, because when you talk about those things, you die. Leave alone this period of time, it's so easy to sing about, but imagine an example. Imagine being able to sing those songs at that time when killing was not a crime. Killing a person like Bob Marley was not a crime, but he sang it without fear or anything. He sang those songs, and those songs also impacted a lot of even into this generation. It does still impact us. Bob Marley, so after being diagnosed, after his concert, he went to America, and in America is where he lost his life, and he lost to the battle of cancer, but he didn't lose the battle to the devil. Of He still remained strong and showed the world, even at my death, I'm still strong, because he didn't lose his death. Because one thing I say, even when somebody is killing you, never lose hope, because when you lose hope, you die. It is better somebody to kill your body than to kill your hopes and dreams, because without hopes and dreams, you're already dead. But without a body, but with life and dreams, you are still alive. You are alive. But when that person is pulling the trigger, never show that person any weakness, or never show that person any fear. You just die and accept death, because death has nothing over you. Because when we die, we have a better place. We have a good place more than this. If we came here without knowing, then we'll go somewhere else even free, because God has a good plan for us. In even life is stages. If we die here today like this, and you say this life is good, we don't know where you're going, because it might be better even than this. And that's one thing I know, it is better than this where we are going. So everything we should do at this time, should we do it to impact ourselves. We should be grown and know what to do that will change the world and put it in the right direction, and not fear any evil. That's why Bob Marley says, how long shall they kill our prophets? Because they kill people who are saying the truth, and people who speak and encourage people. But all this was, it said, to fulfill the book. The book is the Bible, because the Bible says also in Revelation, it tells people, and it tells because God's people, there's a time, a vision, God's people are complaining to God, how long will they kill us? How long will they have power over us? God says, not yet. Just wait until the number is full. When the number is full is when he will have wrath. All of this victory and revenge, it is given for for Jesus to defeat these people. Jesus is the only one who has been given that priority to defeat everyone. So when the time comes, Bob Marley failed, these other people failed, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Martin Luther King failed, and also people who are fighting for the rights of everybody and the rights of all human rights and freedom for all humans. When the time comes, when Jesus comes, he will fulfill this prophecy and defeat these people, because these people are not the right people to defeat the beast. So when times come, the book will be fulfilled according to God's prophecy. So that's why they are saying, how long shall they people be overpowering them? But the right time will come. So what happens? What happens is this. What happens when the right time will come? Things will happen to good things. Good people will have triumph over the bad people there. But this is a short period of time that it was created for the people to do what they want. But the time is coming where the world will change and it will go into the other side of the life balance, and that is when the life will start becoming good. But all these are just tribulations for people to suffer. That's why Bob Marley died, but he lived his purpose well, because if you he cleared his debt with God, because your debt for God is he gives you life, and you have to pay him back with what he offered you. He gave you life, but you have to pay him back with your purpose. Bob Marley cleared his debt with God. He did what he came here to do, and that's why we know Bob Marley, and no one can erase the story of Bob Marley or the name of Bob Marley, because that is a good thing that God did for people. Even though you're dead, your name is always remembered and always respected for it. So Bob Marley died in a hospital in 1981 or 82. I think it's over there, 1981 or 1982. He died in hospital in USA. They did their burial and buried him in Jamaica. It was a sad day for people for losing Bob Marley. He succumbed to death and to the fight against cancer. But that is a good story of Bob Marley and who we know him today as a freedom fighter and a person who fought for people and fought for the dreams of the next generation. And he is a good example for people, no matter how he looked, but he left a legacy that no one, even a doctor, the most educated person, can leave a legacy like Bob Marley. He might be rugged and looks and not good, but he left a legacy more than even the doctors or the physicians could leave. So in this career, you be anything that you want to be. Anything is good for you. Even that you can be the best doctor in the world. You can be the best physician in the world. Anything that you want to do, you can be, no matter what it is. See you in the next episode, and I say thank you for your time.